Hi, welcome to the first video of Denizens of Prehistoric Kingdom, in which we'll look at the alpha animals. Obviously, there'll be more of these when there are more animals. But for now, enjoy the first big six and learn the difference between an alt species and an alt skin. Okay, so we're looking at the nursery screen in the genetics lab, and you can see the 5 animals present. We're going to walk through them and look at which ones have alternate skins and which ones have alternate species. So we'll start with Pseudoceratops, and I'm going to turn them a little bit here so you can see the frill. You can see this silhouette of a person next to it, and this, you will notice, will change. For example, this is the mint skin. And that's the male, and we change it to the female, and you see the silhouette get larger, indicating that the female is a little bit smaller than the male. So a little bit of skin dimorphism and a little bit of size dimorphism. The second skin is wild berry, and when I click to the female skin, you see that the skin doesn't change, but there is a little bit of size dimorphism. Now, all these animals will have a variation of size at their adult form, and it may result in an animal that's nominally smaller ending up being bigger. So, for example, you may end up getting a female who's bigger than your male if your male is on the small side and your female is on the large side. The third Pseudoceratops skin is amber. And you can see, again, no skin dimorphism, but a size dimorphism. And what this means is these are alternate skins. If you were watching down in the lower left-hand corner where the exhibit and social stats are, you would have noticed that there are no differences among these different skins. That's not going to be the same for an animal that has an alternate species. Styracosaurus, and again I'm going to turn this a little bit so you can see the frill a little bit better, because the design's going to change. This is the female shoreline, and the male shoreline is a little bit bigger and has more contrast in its skull and a little bit in its underbelly. It's a little bit brighter colored overall. The jagged, the female is pretty plain brown, a little bit of patterning on it, and the male lightens up the skull areas. Again, not a tremendously strong visual contrast, and a slight size difference. Psychedelic is a little more clear when it comes to the skin dimorphism. Much more brightly patterned with the male, and again a slight size difference. So alternate skins again. The keeping stats don't change in these animals. If we look at Lambeosaurus, starting with the chestnut skin, the male is pretty brightly colored, and the female is a little more drab, but still bright, and you'll notice a more significant size variation. We change that to equine with this magnificent striped pattern. The female and the male do not show a skin dimorphism, but they do show a size dimorphism. And the last one, cosmic, the male and female have a significant look difference and a significant size change. And also in this animal, this particular skin is a little bit larger than the other skins, but they're all the same species, so they all have the same stats. We go back one more time to Edmontosaurus, and this animal has alternate species. So the first one we're looking at is Regalis, and the male has a crest, which is unique among the Edmontosaurus species. The female is pretty drab, but they're both about the same size. See how the human silhouette doesn't change. We move on to a nectens, and a nectens is actually bigger. No crest, and a little bit of dimorphism in the skin, but no size change in the animal. So male or female, they're the same size. But if you look at some of those exhibit stats, I'm going to click back to Regalis, and you'll notice there's a change in some of them. And what this means is these different skins will have slightly different zookeeping aspects to them. I'm not very good at Inuit. This is an animal that was originally described as Ugulak, another Inuit word, given its own genus, but is now generally considered just a variant of Edmontosaurus. You'll notice by the size of the silhouette that it is smaller than the other two, and notably so. The male and the female show no visible dimorphism, either in size or in coloration. But it has a different set of exhibit parameters and social parameters. So it's the smallest group size, it has the lowest aggression. In fact, it carries the note that it will be passive to guests when in a walk-through habitat. So that makes it rather different in terms of keeping, right? And it actually likes colder temperatures as well. So, you can make a very different kind of exhibit with this animal. The last of our alpha habitat animals is Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Leatherhide, the sort of poster child for a long time for Prehistoric Kingdom. The Leatherhide male and female are different, mostly in terms of just how prominent the pattern is, but not really in size. So this is one of those animals that the random size variation will tell you who's bigger. It's a very aggressive animal. We have another skin called molten. This is the female, and this one is noticeably visually different. The molten is quite a bit brighter than in the male than it is in the female. But you will notice that the habitat requirements are the same on these animals and on the third, which is Brumal, which is a representation of a feathered version of this animal. It comes from a lineage that was feathered, but there is no real solid evidence that Tyrannosaurus itself had feathers. All the skin patches we have show scales rather than the kind of skin that would be underneath feathers. It's still possible that there were some patches that might have had feathers, since we don't have skin from all over the animal. It certainly makes a neat looking animal. The coloration's great. The males and females, again, look alike and are not particularly different in size. But this is one of the animals that has 4 skins. Triceratops is the other base game animal that is slated to have 4 skins. Unlike Triceratops, which has 2 alternate species, and 2 skins for each one, Tyrannosaurus has 2 alternate species, but there is only one for the alternate species, and that is Tarbosaurus batar, who will also show up in some of the slots as Tyrannosaurus batar. And it's different a little bit from the other animal. Unlike the other tyrannosaurs, there's a size difference, and we have a definite difference in the coloration of the animals. So this animal in its final form will be taking full advantage of ontogeny differences in the animals to make it look different from Tyrannosaurus. It should be a little svelter and is certainly a little bit smaller. It also has a dewlap, which is an extra added bit that the devs have managed to do, similar to Edmontosaurus regalis' crest. And we'll be seeing some more of that kind of capability, I think, in some of the forthcoming animals. Particularly Pachyrhinosaurus is slated to have notably different headgear for its alternate species. So, you'll notice that Tarbosaurus has a different set of keeping stats from the other three Tyrannosaurs. So, zoo-wise, this is another animal. For the purposes of the game keeping track of things, it's just a variant set of stats for a Tyrannosaurus. So the game in alpha has one other animal, and that's Microraptor. And it is not kept with the other animals. You will find it in fences, under habitats, and if you choose the mini aviary, so we can talk about the last animal. We choose it, and I'm going to choose the null set so we can see better, and come back to the animal. As you can see, you can get this mini aviary down to a couple of trees, and you can select your animals to breed, and as you click them, they show up, and you can see them start doing their behaviors, including the flying behavior. These are looped animations, and they will change when you move out away from the habitat. Microraptor has no alternate skins. Male and female are essentially the same. But it's a lovely addition to the Prehistoric Kingdom, and judging from the fact that there are alternate environments for this, at least one of which Microraptor didn't apparently frequent, I think you can expect to see some more mini aviary animals in the future. The devs have promised another one by early access, so we can look forward to that. They haven't announced what it is, but I think it'll be cool no matter what. So that's what I've got to say today about the animals in alpha. Beta is looming on the horizon, and we're expected to get some more animals in it according to an original roadmap plan that the devs have, that they were going to increase the animals with each iteration of the game until they got to the full 50. This has been scaled back a bit since early access release is now slated for something on the order of 22 animals, and we have 6 here in alpha. There's still a middle ground there for beta to expand on some things. Anyway, we will see that when beta shows up. So thanks for stopping by, and I've got another video on tap coming up probably tomorrow. It will be back to Cretaceous Park for an expansion. Anyway, like the video if you thought it was worth your time. Subscribe if you'd like to encourage me to do more of these. See you in another video.